Welcome to episode 102 of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg. I am one of your two co-hosts. I'm also the founder of College Recruiter Job Search Site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. I am joined here today by a couple of people who I think maybe we're going to hear more laughter from them than content, but that should be great. Peter, good to see you.
Laughter is content.
Absolutely.
You can't deny that. Yeah, I'm Peter Zollman. I'm with the AIM Group. We provide business intelligence for recruitment marketplaces all around the world. And we also have a conference called RecBuzz, which is where I met Sandra Feldmann about 3 weeks ago. We gave her the choice of being Sandra, and she decided to be Sandra. She likes that better.
I thought she said Your Royal Highness. Wasn't that?
No.
Was that?
Yeah.
No.
I even practiced that here. The wave,
She's in Munich, which is, if for those of you who don't belong in this podcast at all, Munich is in Germany. Sandra is there as well. And we're talking about Itsatalent and job boards from the recruiter's perspective, what recruiters know about job boards and what job boards need to know about recruiters that they don't. Because when Sandra spoke a couple of weeks ago at RecBuzz, lo and behold, she said they know nothing. No, she didn't quite say that, but she was
I wasn't that harsh.
But there's a growth opportunity.
Yeah. So what do you think job boards need to know that they either don't know very well or don't know at all about the recruiters and the employers who are hiring people?
Good Lord, what a big question at the start. Hello, everyone. First of
We didn't
all,
promise you it would be easy questions.
oh yeah, that's what I thought coming here. Oh God, I think there's a lot of knowledge that is missing, to be honest, that job boards could learn. First of all, they all talk about matching. That's what I learned. They all talk about the perfect match and how they gonna match people with each other, or with employers. The thing is, though, that especially with AI now, companies all sound the same, and same goes with candidates. So how do you really make a true great match when there's two parties, especially with AI, and AI generated content all sound the same, so what are you going to match then? And I think it's then also hard to match the skills if if you can you can write anything in your CV, basically. How you gonna know if that person really has the right skills? That is one thing that I noticed, that there is a mismatch. Plus the thing is that I noticed that everything is becoming more niche, and also we as recruiters or talent people want to know, it's great that you match people, but do you also have experience in my special sphere, and that might be really niche markets. So the more specialized the job board is, the better, I guess, because it is a difference to attract specific people on the one hand, and on the other hand, especially in the rise of AI, I noticed that the whole concept of community building is so much more important nowadays. So it's not just the job board people just offer, it's also gathering the right people and attracting the right people to each other. So that were just my two takes from that.
Interesting. So one of the reasons I was really happy when Peter suggested that you come on as our guest was because we have a lot of guests that are great. They're vendors, they're job board people, whatever. But but it's really refreshing to me, and I think to our listeners, whether they're watching or listening, or just listening like on Spotify or something, to hear from the perspective of somebody with years of experience in talent acquisition, and then if the talent is an RPO, right? It's a recruitment process outsourcing. Like you advise and help in talent acquisition folks with their hiring, correct?
Yes and no. So Itsatalent
Okay.
business is my own business. So I'm the
Yes.
founder, and it's actually it started as a side hustle because out of accident, I would call it, or chance, I became an HR influencer, where especially HR tech companies asked me to post for them on LinkedIn, or just support them with social media and recruiting insights. So, for example, I'm the brand face of Personio, which some of you might know, which is a German scale up. They're an ATS, but also currently I'm supporting a freelance job board by creating content for them as well. But then also, being head of talent, I do know like the other side, like budget holder, decision maker, what channel does work, what do you want to work with? Yeah, so that's twofold, I would say.
Cool. And yeah, and thank you for that. I definitely knew you sort of like from the TA side. I'm glad you added that additional information. That's fantastic. The where I was going with it is that I think that a lot of people in our industry think that when a candidate comes to a job board and applies, that that's the biggest part of the hiring process. Yes, the recruiters get, the 50 applications and have to narrow that down to 3, and then the hiring manager picks one, but all of that is really easy and fast. Again, I think that's a misconception. Um, Putting your TA hat on, maybe you can give people, like, do you think it's 10% of the picture, 50%, 75%? Like, how that whole hiring process, how important is the job board piece of it?
Well, I'd say it totally depends on what position you are trying to fill.
Mm,
And that really is that really marks how important the job board really is. So there's a quite a few factors in how important your job board really is. One factor, for example, is how skilled is your team? And skilled, I mean, do they know talent sourcing? Could they potentially just go on LinkedIn or wherever, just X-ray job sites or wherever, and tackle the right candidates themselves, right? Do they know social recruiting, for example? Could they set up a paid ads campaign on Instagram or wherever, themselves, and, just post stuff there, create their own content? So that's actually a factor, because less skilled teams really rely heavily on the post and pray sort of,
mm,
approach. Um, but also it depends on what sort of position you're trying to fill. Is it maybe a high volume position or low volume? That always, really reflects on what route to go, because if you have, let's say, a high volume, a low entry bar position, then definitely posting a job is the better choice. But then also maybe it's highly specialized and you have a highly specialized niche job board, that could also be a match. Um, so those things really reflect on how you make your choice. Then also, how many capacities do you have, and how many applications do you expect? Can your team even handle all this volume? This is why I'm also a little bit wary about the whole or one click
yeah.
application sort of things. It can make sense, especially when you're have blue collar positions, and you just want to make it super easy for them to apply. But especially on LinkedIn, I'm not so sure this is the way to go, because sometimes people even forget that they applied, and
Mhm.
just hit like, okay, that, scrolling through or just, roughly scanning the job ad. That sounds fine. I'm just gonna hit reply. So there's a lot of different factors and not one way to go. And I think that's just one opportunity or choice you can make. Just go with a job board. And traditionally it was the choice, but nowadays you have so many more options, especially if you have a great skilled team around you and you can produce everything yourself.
What would a talent acquisition podcast be without mention of AI? Right? The lightning bolt would have struck one or the other or both of us if I didn't bring up AI. So there's AI for content creation, there's AI for searching, there's AI for matching. What do you see as the importance? And we're probably just about out of time, so I'll give you 1 minute to tell us, what do you see as the importance of AI, the value and the detracting aspects, the negatives? Fire away.
Uh, well, it's a big discussion around that, Should you even use AI when you apply somewhere, or should you also use AI if you post something somewhere? Uh, it's a tricky question, because sometimes I feel like it helps us to become a better us, better versions of ourselves. But I think it should go back to basics, where people just type themselves and be very authentic. I hope AI helps us to become more human. That's my stance on it. However, it's inevitable, I guess, and this is why a lot of job boards also know, or no, a lot of recruiters now, when they request a cover letter, and they instead ask for a video, so they really get to see the real you. I mean, let's face it, even before AI, all the cover letters sounded the same, so a lot of recruiters wouldn't even read it. So maybe the video format would help, but it's a tricky question.
Of course, there's AI and video too. Speaking of AI and video, Stephen, you want to wrap up?
Well, Sandra, that's been awesome. Looking forward to getting to meet you at some point in real life. I'm a little bit envious that Peter got to do that last, I guess it was in April, in Vienna at RecBuzz. Thank you very much. For people who want to reach you, Itsatalent.business, probably the best place, and I'll put up the LinkedIn also. Link for those just listening on audio, linkedin.com/in/Sandra-Feldmann, with 2 N's on the end. Don't contact that Feldman with the 1 N. We don't want to talk to her.
She's used to it. She's used to it.
Yeah, she's but
Hey,
thank you.
Sandra, thank you very much. Stephen, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
we've used up our time once again.
Yeah. All right. Cheers all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.